Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Justin M. Bailey here. How is everybody doing? How did your Memorial Day weekend go? Did you social distance? If not, okay. I kind of get it. I'm not saying it's good, no, but I'm saying I get it where I'm very fortunate to be married to Dr. Yumi, a very fantastic doctor indeed, and she says time and time again, like clockwork. She'll have a patient, they'll come in with a condition, she will prescribe them some kind of a medication, let's say blah blah, some pill for 30 days. Day 20, the patient starts feeling better. Stop taking the medication. What do you think happens? Oh my God, I'm sick again. I can't believe. All the time. So I think it's all guaranteed that some kind of a second wave will be coming. So in no way are we done with the poor man's version of The Stand, but let's just hope it stays poor man. Anyways, before we get into it, quick thing of business. First of all, thank you very much for everybody nice enough to watch my videos. Thank you for anybody nice enough to give me their time for my work, for my content, because there is no resource more finite and valuable than your time. You can be the richest person in the world. You could be Bill Gates or Beyonce. It doesn't matter how much wealth or fame you have. We all still have a very finite amount of time. So if anybody spends their time on me, on my work, thank you. And also, a little nasally. Also, I am gonna start leaving comment sections open again. Why? Well, first of all, because, and with a warning too, because I'm just warning everybody, like, yes, they're open. If you want to leave a comment, you can, but why would you want to? I highly do not recommend it. Comment sections are not healthy for you. They're not healthy for me. So, warning, everybody, don't put comments. This is not reverse psychology. There will be awful consequences if you leave comments. Promise. So, that said, and you don't believe me, but okay, fair enough. But so getting back to The Stand, well, I haven't been feeling all that good, which is why I've been dragging my feet. Lots of like neck pain, like right up here, right deep into the collarbone. And also, we're still getting to the point where we're getting to know the characters, the really boring, uninspiring characters. We've already been introduced to the big three. Franny, as you know, I'm a big fan of. Damn, that's the second video. I totally forget his name. Stu Redman, you know, who he's kind of likable, but at the same time, I don't know. Stephen King really laid it on thick when he made that character. But one character he didn't really lay it on thick about. Another hard luck character like Stu Redman, but you're like, okay, I kind of like this guy, Nick Andross, where dude's deaf, which is an interesting touch because he's a deaf wanderer right now. You know, he's just going place to place getting work. Young guy, I think 22, 21. But he's a real down on his luck person. And it's like, first of all, he's deaf. I'll double check when I get to that point. I'm pretty sure his mom died when he was a young age, you know. So real hard luck guy, but like once again, King doesn't lay it on super thick. So it's much more believable, much more relatable, and a much more likable character. In fact, of the four main characters we have so far, Nick Andross appeals to me most. Possibly because I'm a huge Daredevil fan, and I know Daredevil is blind, not deaf. But you know, one of those things where, you know, if you're blind or deaf, that kind of separates you from people, right? You know, puts you in your own separate category. And first of all, don't misinterpret that. You know, but I'm just saying, like, if you can't hear things, you can't see things. Those are things you can't relate to with people, you know. So it's like where I think one of the interesting things about Nick Andross is, so he was alone and isolated before Captain Trips was released, and everybody died, and it became a lonely Earth, anyways. Which I think is one of the things that makes him a very interesting character. And spoiler alert, he does get blown up eventually around the end of the book. Like I said, this is, if you haven't already read The Stand, if you're watching these, that's your fault. So yeah, he gets blown up, and it's actually, that was a cool thing King did, because you kind of felt like he was almost setting it up where, first of all, Nick Andross, I think, is the first person who contacted through dreams Mother Abigail. So it's like, if you felt like, before he got blown up, spoilers, it felt like he was the one that was supposed to be Mother Abigail's, our right-hand man, and maybe the one who was supposed to stand in the end. Do you know what I mean? Who's supposed to be the hero? Maybe, you know? But I like him a lot. The part of the book where we get to him is where he's in Arkansas, Clinton State, was it Arkansas? You know, maybe I'm not. I know, considering I've read this book before and I've already listened to an audio, I should know all these little details, but if I don't get it, I'm sorry. But let's just say Arkansas. He's leaving a bar after doing some work on some guy's farm or something, and gets beaten up, knocked around real bad, and ends up, they take all his money, and he ends up in like a county lockup where there's a sheriff there, and I'm pretty sure one of the people who beat him up is the sheriff's brother-in-law. The plot thickens. But, you know, you do kind of sympathize with Stu, but not as much, you know, because like it's just laid on too thick. It's a little unbelievable. I really empathize with Nick Andross. So out of the 4 characters we got so far, I like him a lot. And how the other characters are doing? Well, the other one we'll focus on today is Larry Underwood, where he's still being stupid idiot Larry. Like, once again, you know, he's not incredibly likable because he's a real douche. And it's like one of those things where it took the end of the world for him not to be a douche. So I already talked about like how he's supposed to look at that. But he's being pretty douchey. You know, even though his big rock star dreams are coming true, he still owed a lot of people money. And he was in a lot of trouble in California. So he drove all the way to New York City, partially because his mom was one of the only people he knew would take him in. Like, that's family, right? Family are the people who have to take you in. Do you know what I mean? So she's taking him in, and she buys him all these sweets and foods and snacks he likes. And what does he do? He goes out and gets totally hammered, you know, passes out, hooks up with some oral hygienist, emphasis on the oral. And even to her, he's a real bastard the next day. You know, quite the fucking run. Do you know what I mean? So it's just... And he feels so guilty and so terrible, so guilty, in fact, even though he goes to the office building where his mom works, where she's like a custodial engineer. He feels so guilty that he almost just wants to run away and not face her, just to apologize. So basically, Larry's problem is he's a real cowardly shit. And honestly, I'd say there's a direct correlation to your level, not perfect, but your level of morality and your courage, because isn't doing the moral thing usually the harder thing to do? Doesn't that require a little more courage, give or take? Do you know what I mean? Doing the moral thing is often way more tougher than doing the opposite of that, doing the immoral thing, you know? And that takes courage. That takes your ability to stand and say, yes, something is right, or no, something is wrong, and live with the consequences. Larry's not at that point yet. He does have it out with his mom. And what hurts him the most is not how angry she is, because she's not angry at all. She's just like, yeah, like, you know, like, so it, like, you know, can you see, like, coming from a parent that would hurt? Not like angry, like, you selfish asshole. Like, a parent's like, oh, you're a selfish asshole. Like, you know, like, the sky is, I wasn't the sky is green. The sky is blue, grass is green, you're an asshole. And she says, like, look, you're a taker. You know, and not even like, you're a taker. Like, that's where you are. And you came here because you knew I'd have no choice to give. And he's like all heartbroken and sad. He's like, I'll leave. It's like, no. Because she's like, once again, like, look, this is you, and you're also my son. It's okay. She's like, I know you've got good points too. And she lays something interesting on him. She basically says, like, look, Larry, one of your big problems is you look for trouble. Which, if you read what happened with him and the oral hygienist, emphasis on the oral, you would see that, yes, he does look for trouble. For God's sake, I think they were mixing scotch and milk. Like, who does that? Do you know what I mean? You know, so they make amends. And so he's basically like, look, you're a fucking asshole, son. And you're my asshole. And I love you. And like, oh, shucks, mom, I am your asshole. So, you know, and it's like she gives him money to go to the movies. And I think he goes to see a Freddy Krueger. And, you know, I've never read the original version. I think one day I actually would like to get my hands on an original version of The Stand, just to see what the cultural references are, because I don't know why. When Stephen King rewrote it in the early 90s, he switched his late 70s references for early 90s references. I think around the book they mentioned Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so it's just like, I don't know. I think that's an odd choice. It's I wish he didn't do that, but I would love to get my hands on that copy. But anyways, here's the thing. And King is really good, even though I keep criticizing how the characters are. But look, he's laying it on, man. He's like, people are coughing. Larry's thinking to himself that it's like whatever Freddy Krueger he's seeing, like, well, they're probably, even though Freddy Krueger dies at the end, I guess they're going to make sequel after sequel. And the narrator, King's like, no, they're not. Because this is it for movies for a very long time, because people are coughing in the audience. Captain Trips is spreading. And once again, unlike our poor man's version of Captain Trips, a 99.6% fatality rate. So it's New York, it's everywhere. King described it as the very first chain letter to actually work. So he's just so good at that. And in that sense, this whole Armageddon novel, it's definitely one of the first of its kind. So, but it's so funny considering the craziness we're living in. To wrap it all up, what do I got for time? I'm good. I'm not talking that much. To wrap it all up, when he was talking about that whole movie thing, I remember February where we got back from Michigan. And that was our last family togetherness trip, Michigan, and that'll be our last for a while. Michigan, how funny is that? But man, did I like Pinball Pete's. But it was really hitting me. And people complain about how we overprepared or wasn't a big deal. That's what you want to hear at the end of this, because people either say we either overprepared or didn't do enough. I am very thankful we live in a world where we said that. And newsflash, everybody, we're not out of it yet. Lots of people have taken pill 20 and decided, fuck that, I don't need to take the other 10 pills. So Merry Christmas. And I mean that as in we have at least till Christmas before we can finally say that this is fully done. But I remember getting ready. I remember, I'll show some pictures. I'm very vainly proud of this, where I remember realizing holy shit, because we don't know what's coming. And we have a little kid coming. I keep talking about the themes of The Stand, our life and death. The themes of everything is life and death, right? I had a kid coming, man, and just get ourselves ready. So I bought everything I needed. And once again, since I practiced plenty, I practiced making sourdoughs. I've practiced with dry storage. I'm familiar with this stuff. So it's since I've already practiced it a bit, I know what to buy. I raided that supermarket while everybody thought this was, I don't know, not going to happen or just fake news or whatever. But I got to leisurely take my time at the supermarket before this all happened. I got to select everything I needed with no hassle, no rush. I got to grab myself plenty of paper towels and toilet paper before people went crazy with that, and everything else I needed to just stock us up just in case. So there was all that part of this for me. And the other thing that really stuck with me was I was a little terrorized, just in the sense that, it was a great big unknown. What was going to happen? I didn't know how vulnerable a pregnant person would be or a little infant. I didn't know what was going on. None of us knew. And anybody says they didn't. But one thing I thought to myself, all of this, is I got to make sure that if me and my daughter are stuck in for so long, I got to do something fun with her before it's on. So we went to the movies, which was nice, me and her. And we saw Sonic the Hedgehog, which is funny too. First of all, that was the last major successful movie in theaters before the theaters shut down. But that movie's a very funny and fitting movie for everything we're going in. Sonic had to deal with a lot of isolation, ironically, and he wasted a lot of toilet paper. And it was a fun movie, and I really liked it a lot. Me and my Sophie have watched that one a bunch of times together, and Transformers, the animated movie, which I'm tickled about. It's definitely one of my favorite movies of all time. And but sitting in that theater with all this going on, I started thinking about Larry Underwood. That's the last movie he saw. I was just wondering, while sitting and trying to keep upbeat for my daughter, but is this the last movie we're ever gonna see? Because it's we know that's not the case now, but we didn't know and I didn't know. So, man, once again, even though the characters are kind of the blah, and but I'm glad I'm going over The Stand again right now, because It's not done yet. It's not. So let's keep going, and thank you very much for everybody supporting my channel. I'm Justin M. Bailey. Thank you very much. Bye.